Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're piecing together a truly wild puzzle. Using a fascinating and pretty dense set of source materials, we're going to explore a mind-bending idea.
All right, let's just jump right in, shall we? What if all these separate conspiracies you hear about aren't separate at all? What if they're all just threads in one single, massive, hidden narrative? That's the question our sources are posing today.
So here's the roadmap our source materials lay out for us. It's quite a trip. We're going to start with the assassination chart, then go way back to the secrets of lost Atlantis, then into a whole invisible world, before we make the serious connection, meet the messengers through time, and finally, ask what remains hidden.
Okay, so our journey down the rabbit hole kicks off with this chart found in our source text, Vatican Assassins, and it alleges a huge conspiracy behind the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
According to this document, the official story, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The source lays out this incredibly detailed network, alleging a whole chain of command that starts way at the top, flows down through cardinals, ancient orders like the Knights of Malta, the CIA, and right at the very bottom, you've got Lee Harvey Oswald.
And this is where it gets really interesting, the why. The source claims that Kennedy was seen as a tyrant because he was trying to dismantle this power structure's agenda, especially when it came to the CIA and Vietnam. And get this, it frames the assassination not as a crime, but as a lawful act under certain historical doctrines.
So you're probably wondering, how on earth does a 20th century political conspiracy connect to anything deeper? Well, the key, according to our sources, is in those ancient orders mentioned on the chart. To understand where they come from, you have to go way, way back to the secrets of Atlantis.
To explore that, we have to look at another source, the Edgar Cayce readings. According to those, this fundamental split in humanity goes back to a primeval conflict in Atlantis. It was this epic battle between two groups, the Sons of the Law of One, who were all about the greater good, and the Sons of Belial, who were driven by pure selfishness and power. This is presented as like the original good versus evil.
And right at the center of this whole ancient drama, the Firestone. Now this thing, think of it like the ultimate double-edged sword. It was a crystal that could channel cosmic energy. It could either power a perfect utopia, or it could unleash total destruction. The struggle over who controlled this technology, the readings say, is what literally sank the continent.
So we've gone from a lost civilization to a hidden dimension. The next set of texts we're looking at, well, they suggest these ancient forces aren't just ancient history. They're part of an invisible world that's all around us, right now.
Here, the writings of Manly P. Hall, pulling from the old alchemist Paracelsus, bring in this idea of elementals. Nature spirits, gnomes in the earth, undines in water, salamanders in fire, sylphs in the air. They're described as real, living beings just existing on a different frequency, a spiritual version of our own world.
Okay, and this is where the dots start connecting in a really wild way. The source material draws these direct lines from ancient myths to stuff happening today. It suggests that old tales of satyrs, maybe they were early accounts of the gray aliens from Roswell. Fiery salamanders could be what we call ball lightning, or even UFOs. And those ancient stories of incubi and succubi, well, they're explicitly linked to modern alien abduction stories.
So that mention of aliens, it's not just a throwaway line. It leads us straight into our next source, which, well, it has a very specific idea about where all this secret knowledge actually comes from.
The whole theory here is that a massive thread running through all of Western occultism is secretly all about one thing: getting intel from the Sirius star system. The occult order known as the Silver Star is supposedly a direct reference to it. Sirius, the dog star, is presented as the true source of all the spiritual juice for our current age.
And then there's this weird little clue, this palindrome that keeps popping up in all sorts of strange places, from Aleister Crowley to James Joyce. Is a god to live in a dog? The hidden meaning, according to the source, it's a riddle pointing right to the connection between a god, the divine, and the dog star, Sirius.
Okay, so if there's this cosmic connection, right, how has it been kept alive for centuries? Well, our sources point to a specific lineage of people, messengers, who have been tasked with keeping this tradition alive through time.
The source material literally connects these four giants of 20th century esoteric thought. You've got Blavatsky, Gurdjieff, Crowley, and even the JPL rocket scientist Jack Parsons. All of them are presented as tapping into the same hidden well of knowledge, this Syrian tradition, and each one shared it in their own unique way.
And it doesn't stop there. Another text blows this whole lineage wide open, going way further back. It lists these great messengers, and get this, it calls them dinosaurs, who supposedly kick off new eras of history with their teachings. You've got all the big names. And then, right at the end of the list, Perdurabo, which just happens to be one of Aleister Crowley's magical names.
All right, let's take a breath. Where has this path taken us? I mean, we started with a presidential assassination in the 1960s, we dove down through the ruins of Atlantis, explored a world of invisible beings, and ended up looking at a star system hundreds of light years away. So, what does it all add up to?
So, if you put all these pieces together from the different sources, this is the picture that emerges. It's a single story of an ancient conflict over secret knowledge, knowledge that came from somewhere, not human. And that conflict is still playing out today, shaping our world through this whole network of secret societies and messengers.
And yet, even after all that, there are still locked doors. One of our sources just hits a dead end, a literal access denied message, suggesting that some part of this family tree of secret knowledge is still completely off limits.
And others just leave you with these breadcrumbs, right? These cryptic little clues that just lead to more questions. Phrases like the Blue Brethren or return to Saint Cyril. What do they even mean? The documents don't tell you. They just point to even deeper mysteries that are still completely shrouded.
And that really is the question our sources leave us with, isn't it? It's a direct challenge to what we think we know. If these threads, as wild as they seem, actually do connect, then what else in our reality is just the surface layer of a story that is way, way deeper and a whole lot stranger than we could ever imagine?